If you've just joined us, it's just gone 3 o'clock. It's Sunday afternoon again, and we are due for another interesting conversation this afternoon. If you're joining us for the first time, my name is Antonio Venturini. I'm joined by Maliek this afternoon, Maliek Fagodien from Cape Town. And the aim is to talk COVID-19. I'm just trying to add you. How's it, Maliek? Can you hear me? Just want to make sure
Yes,
you
I
can.
can hear you.
Okay,
Yes, I
perfect.
can hear you.
Like 5 seconds, 5 minutes before we went live, I unplugged the Wi-Fi plug. How's that for being smart? And then my 10-year-old had to help me just get things back together again. So thanks to Zach. So we're back live again. And we talking COVID-19. Thanks to everybody for joining us this afternoon. We'll give it a few more minutes. And see if there's anybody else that wants to join in the conversation. But this afternoon's topic is entitled COVID-19, frankly speaking. And the idea is really to unpack COVID-19, see the effect it has on people's lives, the real effect it has. Some of you might have picked up on the story of Maliek Fagodien's dad that passed away, was admitted to a hospital on the 26th of April this year, and succumbed to COVID-19. On what date was that? About the 5th or the 6th of May, Maliek, eh?
That was the 6th of May.
6th of May, a sad day,
Yes.
I think, in our lives, in the lives of your family, I'm sure. Can you, by way of introduction, Maliek, give us a picture of your family. Who are you? What's the family like? I know you're a Cape Town family living in Mitchell's Plain. Before COVID-19, tell us a little bit about the family.
Okay. I have 4 siblings. One of the siblings was not adopted, but my parents brought him up, took him away from our house. So
Right.
we take him as our brother as well. We are close family. What else can I tell you? Yeah, we are close family. My childhood, um, I had a happy childhood. I don't have
Right.
any complaints.
Right. That's good. This whole episode, I know you've been aware of COVID-19 before this. You guys had a good relationship. From the articles I read, you had a brilliant relationship with your dad, and I'll tell you a bit later why I say so. But tell us about the events of the 26th of April when your dad called you.
Okay, on the 26th of April, my father phoned me about 4 a.m. in the morning. I could hear he was struggling to breathe. He said he can't anymore.
Yeah.
I must take him to hospital. So I immediately contacted my brother-in-law, and he came with his car. He picked me up, and we went to my father's house in Sherwood Park in Cape Town. And but before we left here, I asked him, my brother-in-law, if he's got his mask and does he have gloves. He had his mask and he didn't have gloves, so I gave him a pair of gloves. So when we came to my father's house, my father could still walk, so he walked on his own to the car, and we went from the house. Then we went to the hospital, Cageville Melomed in Cape Town, and they brought out a chair, a wheelchair, and they took him in. The only thing is we couldn't go in. They took my ID and my medical aid card because my father was on my medical aid.
Yeah.
And then from there, we waited. We waited for the doctors to give us some feedback. We got to the hospital about say around about 4:45 the morning, and the doctors called me in about past 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then they told me that they did some blood tests. My father has a kidney infection, and they did a COVID 19 test as well. So they said it takes about 1 to 3 days for the results to come. But they couldn't put my father in the ward because of the symptoms that he had.
Sure.
So on the 27th of April, I got a message on my phone, my
Mm.
father's results, and it said that there was COVID 19 detected in the sample. So
Yeah.
I immediately phoned the hospital
Right.
and to confirm. So the doctor confirmed with me that my father is positive for COVID 19. I then immediately phoned my siblings because my
Yeah.
father was by my sister on the Friday. The
Mm.
Saturday he was by my brother. So I phoned them and told them that they must go for tests. And we also phoned my father's one friend that we know that he
Yeah.
goes to. We asked him also to go for a test.
Right.
And we got our result. We went on the 27th and we got our results back on the 28th, and it was
Right.
negative.
Okay. Wow.
Uh,
All right. You just mentioned that you received the results by SMS at the time, and I understand it's because you was a beneficiary on your medical aid. How did that make you
yes.
feel? I mean, to receive such news on SMS just a
Um,
day after you took him to hospital.
you know, I was a little bit in shock and I had
Yeah.
fear because my father was 70 years old
Yeah.
and he had underlying illnesses. He had heart problems. He had a pacemaker in,
Hmm.
and then he had high blood. And oh, and the other thing they discovered in hospital is also that he's diabetic.
Right.
So
Okay.
I was
Wow.
I was scared and I was worried
Yeah. Yeah.
because I did before the lockdown started. I did the research on COVID-19 when the
Hmm.
outbreak started in China. So I
Right.
knew that it will come to South Africa. So I did the research not
Correct.
only for myself but to protect my family as well, so that I
Right.
know what to do in case one of us get infected.
Sure, sure. So the events of the morning of his passing, tell us about that, because I know from reading articles you had contact with him while he was in hospital from the time he was admitted. He'd call you daily. You'd have contact with him. But the day of his passing was different, though. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the day of his passing was different. My sister phoned me that morning, said that my father phoned her. I must phone him
Yeah.
urgently. When I phoned to his phone was just ringing. That was
Sure.
the morning about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock the morning.
Right.
Because I waited, my father normally phoned me between 5 and 7 a.m. in the
Yeah.
morning. So I waited for his call.
Yeah.
Then my sister phoned me. And then around about 1:30, the doctor phoned me and
Hmm.
said that they're going to put him on a ventilator.
Right.
Um,
Wow.
I was I was quite worried after that. And then
Right.
an hour after that, the hospital phoned me to tell me that my father passed away, and
Sure.
that was sad. That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was shocking news. I'm sure to be able to get. I want to reflect on your dad. Tell us what type of person was he in society, in community. What do you remember most about him?
Um, my father was a lovable person. Everybody in our community, when he used to stay in Mitchell's Plain, everyone loved him.
Yeah,
He would help anyone. doesn't matter if he knows you or he doesn't know you, he will go out of his way to help you.
Yeah.
Not just only my father, but my late mother as well.
Right.
That was the type of parents I had. You could knock on our door,
Yeah.
and you come ask for food. They won't give you the food at the door. They will tell you come inside,
Wow.
have a seat,
Yeah.
even though they don't know you from anywhere. But
Yeah.
that was the type of parents they were, and I think that is what they installed in us as well,
Yeah.
because I've been working in the community since 8 years old when I started at
Wow.
St. John's Ambulance Services,
Right.
training for a first aider, but that time it was on the sports field.
Right.
We used just to carry the first aid kit
Yes.
with the first aider onto the field,
Yeah.
So I think so my parents have installed things in us
Sure.
that that I can go anywhere today or knock on anyone's
Yeah.
door in here in
Right.
our community. They won't chase me away because of my parents.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Wow. What amazing parents and what amazing community leaders. I often find that the most amazing community leaders are the ones without the titles, the ones we only know as auntie or as living down the road, but
Yes.
you can really depend on them. Just to everybody who's tuned in and maybe tuned in after we started, we're talking about COVID-19, and I'm speaking to Maliek Fagodien, whose dad sadly passed on as a result of COVID-19 on the 6th of May this year. If you do have any questions for us or any comments, please throw it in the comment section and we'll share it and we can talk about it. But coming back to you, Maliek, um, I can imagine your dad passing in hospital, you're getting the news. There's no opportunities to say goodbye. You didn't see him face to face. None of the family saw him face to face since the time you wheeled him into hospital the morning of the 26th. How was that experience not being able to greet him, especially since you weren't able to speak to him by phone as you usually would in the mornings? Um, Firstly, why wasn't it possible to see him, speak to him in those last moments?
Okay. Because my father was a COVID-19 patient, we we weren't allowed into the hospital, or for that matter, all the hospitals, whether you had COVID-19 or other type of illness,
Yeah,
nobody is allowed into a hospital because of protocols the hospital had, and 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 I agree with the hospitals because I mean,
sure.
here you go into the hospital. Um, the virus is in the hospital where the
Yeah,
COVID-19 patients is lying, and you got infected. Now
right.
your family is not just going to lose one family member; they might lose another family member. You
Correct. Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So the sad part was, you know, my father went through a lot. In the mornings when he phoned me, I could hear he was struggling to breathe.
Yeah.
You would talk to me and then take a break for a couple of seconds looking for air and then talk again. And then I will tell him, Daddy, don't phone me. Um,
Mm. Mm.
you need your strength to fight.
Yeah.
And to hear that your father can't breathe, you get worried. Um,
Yes.
Tears just roll down. Um, The
Mm.
sad part is we couldn't be next to his bedside to comfort
Yes.
him,
Correct.
to pray for him by his bedside.
Mm.
My father was a person for like to read the Quran, our Bible.
Yeah.
Um, we couldn't go do that for him,
Correct. Yeah.
and that was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Not to not to be by his bedside and to pray, comfort him, talk to him, telling him keep on fighting. Um, you
Mm.
must remember, although my father had underlying illnesses, my
Hmm.
father used to work 7 days a week, still on
Wow.
that age,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he was an active person, you know.
Right. Right.
So that so for us, not be able to see him in the hospital was very difficult.
Sure.
It was sad. It was heartbreaking. Um, I still, I didn't have time to mourn yet properly. Sometimes
Yeah.
I lay in bed, I just cry, you
Mm.
know.
Mm. Sure. That's sad, and I'm sure it's been a difficult time in the family because not only could you not be there by his bedside in those dying moments, read the Quran, pray with him. Not only was that removed from you, but there was also the funeral afterwards, which had to have limited number of people. How did you deal with family and friends that want to be close? I mean, if you typically with a person that has been so hands on in his community, people want to be there, they want to support, they want to rally around. And I particularly know of the Muslim community. I've got Muslims in my family. I've attended funerals. The support and the tremendous love you experience at that time is just so much, and people want to do that because that's the nature of the community you find yourself in. How did you guys deal with family and friends that couldn't come close at that time?
Yeah, it was very difficult because my father had a couple of close friends.
Yeah.
And it was difficult. We only allowed one that my father normally goes to, like
Mm,
every day. We allowed him to come.
yeah.
Where family concerned, it was very difficult
Yeah.
to tell a cousin, listen here, you can't come to the funeral because of COVID-19 and the regulations and all that. So it was difficult, but luckily for us, our family, they understand why,
Okay.
and and the support was still there from them, although
Right.
they couldn't come to the funeral.
Right.
And my father, like I said, my father was a lovable person. And when I informed the community here, where I stay, my father used to stay in this area. When I informed them, there wasn't a dry eye. To
Mm,
everyone I told, tears just start rolling.
yeah.
So lovable. Not only my father, but my parents were.
Right. Wow, very true. So we've there's a few days that have passed. I want to spend some time talking about the campaigning that you've started doing, but um, we've moved from level 5 in lockdown. Tomorrow, the 1st of June, we're going to level 3. I almost said 1. No, level 3. Schools are supposed to open. There's now talks that schools won't open, but it seems as if in our communities people are not taking this virus serious enough. If you look at the amount of movement, the amount of lack of social distancing, and so forth. Is that the same within your communities, within Mitchell's Plain in particular? Despite
Okay.
this,
Yeah. I can't talk for the whole of Mitchell's Plain. I can only
well,
talk in my area.
yeah,
I've been around in Mitchell's Plain as well to go see. So, yeah, there's a lot of areas in Mitchell's Plain that not adhering to the lockdown rules. People are
yeah,
not wearing masks. Children are playing until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night outside.
yeah,
Uh, Youngsters or youth are standing on the corners, smoking
mm,
cigarettes, selling cigarettes, smoking
yes,
dacha,
yes,
like it's a fashion.
yeah,
It's like December holiday here by us. Um,
wow,
you found law enforcement agencies, and they respond after 2 hours, 3 hours, And when they come, the
Right.
children just run into their houses. When they leave the area, they just come back out, and it's
Well,
just like
yeah.
normal. You know, it doesn't even seem that here was a lockdown here in our area, and it's actually scary because
Mm,
the parents they're putting their children at risk, not
risk.
only their children but themselves as well.
Very
You
true.
know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Just to acknowledge some of the people that are listening to us this afternoon, a good friend of mine down the road, Kariston Lowe, Alec Heatstroth, Rachel Brooks, Debbie Hendricks. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Debbie says, just a comment from Debbie's side, sincere condolences to you and your family, Malik. This hits
Thank
home.
you.
What would you tell our community about the seriousness of this virus? People are going about their business, visiting friends and family as if this will not affect them. So the question is, what would you tell the community about the seriousness of this virus?
Okay, they must remember COVID-19. I won't say coronavirus. I'll use
Yeah,
COVID-19 because there's still a debate about if it's a virus or a bacterial infection. But it
right.
doesn't matter if it's a virus or a bacterial infection. It's here and
Mm,
it's not going away soon.
right.
Um, you will only realize when one of your family members is infected
Mm,
and one of your family members is going through what we as a family went through. You will
yeah.
realize that the COVID-19 is here
Mm,
and it's not going away soon. Um, you must remember, if you infected and you need to go to hospital, an ambulance will come. No family member will be allowed to go with that ambulance. Um, no family member will be allowed to go into the hospital with that family member. That family member will suffer alone.
yeah,
Only the doctors or the nursing staff will be around
yeah,
that family member. And if a family member is in hospital, what do they look for? They want
yeah.
family members around them, and you
Very
must
true.
remember that that won't happen,
Yeah,
and
very true.
you won't be able to comfort that person, hold that person's hands. So my advice to the community is stop hearing this conspiracy theories. Stop being ignorant. COVID-19 is real. Wear a mask. If you can stay at home, stay at home. Only go out
Yeah,
when it's necessary. Get used to sanitizing your hands, door handles, taps, tables, countertops, especially your toilet. Although
mm,
you don't have the virus, but if you use the toilet, sanitize afterwards.
mm-hmm.
Um, because sometimes you will have the virus, but then you don't have the symptoms.
Yeah, very
So
true.
sanitize, get used to sanitizing. Um, like I said, also, only go out when it's necessary.
Yeah,
Stay indoors. Stay at home.
yeah. Well, I've got another question from another listener. Alistair Hilbron is listening as well. Alistair asks, "What are the procedures in the Muslim religion they follow once someone have passed away of COVID-19, and how did this affect you? The procedure."
Okay. We had to cut off some of the procedures where the body goes to the house first and the body gets washed and
Mm,
and cleansed. Um, we couldn't do that. We had to the undertaker had to do everything at the hospital,
wow.
wrapped in the normal white cloth,
Mm,
and then afterwards it was wrapped in see-through plastic, like the body bag,
Right.
but it was see-through. Um, so the body couldn't go home. Family
Mm.
couldn't see the face for the last time, my father's face for the last time, or say their last goodbyes.
Yeah.
So straight from the hospital, you have 2 hours from the hospital to get to the cemetery. So we went straight to the cemetery, and there the normal procedure went, except that we couldn't open the bag totally.
Yeah.
We could only, you have about three bands that you must lose. So we could
Right.
only lose one.
Yeah.
That was the one by the head. That
Right.
was the only one.
Wow. Sure. So you have a shortened procession and shortened process. You can't see the individual. There's no final goodbyes. There's no prayers at home. The Yeah, that's devastating. I must say that is something else to get used to. And it's not like you're going to get another opportunity to do it because your dad's buried, and so the process is done, and it needs to be done as speedily as that as well.
Yes,
Sure.
yes.
Tell me, how is the family holding up since your father's passing, Malik? How are they doing?
Okay, because of lockdown, I don't go a lot to my siblings.
Right.
I'm very strict about lockdown. Um,
Sure.
but I do talk to them when I have a chance. They're doing well.
Okay.
Um, luckily for me, my brother is we working at the same place, so I
Right.
do see him
Okay.
almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
He's also doing well. So yeah, they're doing well.
Okay.
But I can't say because I don't see
Okay.
them face to face.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I guess it will take time, and since there's no ample opportunity for grieving, and we all grieve differently, and I think it's going to take some time still. But it's so sad that things happen the way it has. But you've purposefully taken on the task to create awareness around COVID-19. You've been campaigning since your dad's passing already. I know you've been on various media platforms around this. Tell us a bit about the campaign, about the awareness that you are creating.
Yeah, my campaign actually started. It's not because of my father.
Okay.
Um, Before lockdown,
Yeah.
I started a block watch in the area where I stay.
Right.
And when lockdown started, um, because I started the block watch, all the members is privating me. Yes, people are not adhering to the lockdown rules. I must phone the police and all
Mm.
that. And then the passing of my father came. And then
Yeah.
3 days after that, I got again a lot of private messages. And then I said, no, man, it's some of our members' kids as well that are
Yeah.
playing outside. So then
Oh.
the post that I've put on Facebook, I
Yeah.
started with our Blockwatch WhatsApp group. I've put it on
Right.
there, and then the response was overwhelming. Then I
Yeah.
said, okay, let me try and put this on Facebook. Maybe I
Yeah.
can reach some people, change some people's mind about
Sure.
this whole COVID-19 and the lockdown. And then I've put it on Facebook.
Right.
In 4 hours, the post went viral. I didn't
Yeah.
expect that.
Right.
And then I thought to myself, let me continue with this. Let me
Mm.
make the awareness campaign, and
Yeah.
see where it takes me. And yes, I do get some negative comments and conspiracy theories and all that,
Yeah.
but that is not gonna put me down.
Correct. Yeah.
I was called names, all that, but
Yeah.
that is not gonna put me down. I will continue, even
Right.
though I can change only one person's mind. I have
Yes.
accomplished
Yes.
something. You
Absolutely,
know.
absolutely, and you are absolutely right. Your campaign has gone far and wide. Let me tell you how I got a hold of you, and I never told you. I sit in Johannesburg. I'm originally from Port Elizabeth. A friend of mine in
Okay.
PE shared your post, and that's how I got to know about you, and started inboxing you about it. So it is reaching people. I believe it is creating awareness, and it will, even if it impacts one person's life. I know there's a few people listening online this afternoon, and there's learnings from it already. Tell me about the mask campaign. You are raising awareness and raising collecting masks at the moment as well. Tell us a bit about that and how people can get involved.
Yeah. In Mitchell's Plain, we have a lot of underprivileged communities, and they can't afford masks. Um, they can't even afford a loaf of bread, for that matter. Now, how can they afford masks? So then I decided to start this campaign. I'm looking for sponsors, so that I can give the mask to them for free. And I don't want to give them just any mask that they can wear one day. Um, I'm looking for the cloth mask that they can wash out, and use it like every day when they go out. Um, so yeah, this morning I got a few masks from the Rogers family, and thank you to them from Idefel. I've decided to donate the mask to 3 organizations. I've already issued them with the mask. That is because it's only a few. I told them they can give it to their team members that is working with the feeding scheme, so that they also can protect themselves when they hand out the food, and that um, people can contact me on my cell number. You've got my cell number, so you can post if they want to donate any mass. I will appreciate it. Because I know of an area in Mitchells Plain, Tafelsig, where one of my friends has a feeding scheme, and no one there has a mask because they can't afford it. So I'm looking at for that feeding scheme alone, I'm looking at 200 to 300 masks that I need to get for these people, so that they are also protected as well.
Is great. We know that, and not everybody can afford a mask. Even I think people's priorities is going to center around buying food, because the
Yes,
lockdown has caused people not to be able to work. They've been unable to earn an honest living, and so if I had to buy something first, if I was in that shoes, if that person's shoes, I'd buy food first. And so
yes,
masks, especially around a feeding scheme, I mean, there's already food being distributed. How great would it be if you could add masks to that? So I'd like
yes,
to appeal to everybody listening this afternoon. Please make contact with Malik. I'm thinking of PE. A lot of the people that are listening are in PE. I'm sure we can make a plan and club together and send one parcel by courier once, as opposed to all of us couriering different amounts. Let's do that if we
yes.
can and coordinate it, and send it to Malik and the efforts they are doing in Mitchell's Plain. Malik, just as we come to a close, I've got some more questions that has surfaced.
Okay.
Um, I think the reality of COVID-19 has hit us so hard that people who have not experienced it close to home uh, sit with a lot of questions, because the question always beckons: what if this thing happens to me? What if it comes to my house? And Alistair's got a follow-up question. He says, Um, do you have plans in place to bring about closure? Have you spoken to someone regarding how you were robbed of saying the correct farewell according to your faith? What are you doing regarding the emotions at this point in time? I know you said you're back at work, so it's easy to almost separate yourself and get busy with normal everyday life. But the question is, are there plans in place to get closure?
Um, because I have a medical background as well, I used to be a BSL paramedic. I'm not
All right.
practicing. I'm not
Yeah.
practicing anymore because all the years I've been working in the community and
Mm.
I've neglected my own family. And then
Yeah.
about 6, 7 years ago, I decided it's time for my family. You know, um, I don't know. I don't have any plans. I just take it day by day. Um,
Yeah.
you know, um, for me, there is no time for mourning now. Because, like I explained earlier, that our parents brought us up to help the need, not only the needy or anyone that is in need. You know, um, by doing this, I feel this is a need. Um,
Yeah.
to make people aware of the COVID. Um, so if
Yeah.
I come to that, I will mourn. Um, if whether it happens now in a year's time,
Mm.
like I said, I just take it day by day. I
Right.
need I need to stay strong, go on what I'm doing. People must also remember I'm not doing this for money
Yeah.
or
True.
for fame or name, because I
Mm.
got the offer um, from someone I won't mention names to have exclusive to my story, and
Yeah.
they offered me a lot of money, and I said no
Mm.
because I'm not doing this for money, you know. So yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
like I said, I
yeah.
take it day by day.
Right. I hear you. I hear you. Thinking back of how your dad contracted COVID-19, one of the other questions Ronwan's asking is that is it perhaps possible, if you look at his daily routine and what he did prior to contracting, would it be possible to pinpoint where he possibly contracted COVID-19, especially since some people have the false sense of security that they know a certain family member and would say that okay, I know they would be sanitizing. So people have got weird ideas of where it can and where it can't be contracted. And so the question is, do you think it would be possible to pinpoint where exactly he picked up COVID-19?
That is the scary part. You
Yeah,
can't say.
very
That is
true.
the scary part. You can't
Yeah,
say where he got infected.
yeah,
you've been to a lot of places.
correct.
Um, so I can't say. I can't pinpoint where. Um, that's it. That is the scary part.
Yeah, yeah. No, that is and I think the lesson for all of us out of this is that we need to be cautious wherever we are, whatever we do, wherever we place ourselves, whether we're going into a mall or whether we are whatever we are doing, we need to be cautious and wear a mask. I mean, that's the least we can do, because me wearing a mask is me protecting you, and you wearing a mask is you protecting me. And I think that is incredible. People think that this is a virus, or it is an illness that is only for a certain community or for certain people grouping, and it's not the case. We've seen people pass on now, rich and poor. I mean, someone I knew as an acquaintance, a guy, mind you, a medical doctor by the name of Clarence Mini passed away 2 weeks ago. Clarence was Dr. Mini was the was the CEO of the Medical Schemes Council of South Africa. He was an advisor to the Minister of Health. I mean, someone of that caliber a medical doctor by trade passed on as a result of COVID-19, you know. So there's no restriction, there's no rule that says this is for the poor or this is for the rich. We are long past that stage where everybody and anybody can be infected. And people need to realize that and wake up, because sadly some people only listen when it's closer to home. And we are trying to, I mean, this conversation this afternoon, the work that you are continually doing is to create that awareness, to say don't wait for it to come to your home, take the necessary precaution now. Great. So to everybody else listening this afternoon, if you want to be part of this campaign and to assist Maliek in raising awareness, but also to raise masks. For us who can afford a mask, it's easy to walk into a shop, buy a mask at a traffic light. It's easy to spend 30, 40, 50 rand on that mask. But to the individual that can't even afford food, a mask is not a priority. So let us rally around and support Maliek in his efforts to give masks to people that really can't afford it. Just before I ask you for some closing thoughts, here's a comment from Rosemary. Rosemary, I almost said your maiden name because I remember that so clearly. But Rosemary says, thank you for sharing your experience with us. I admire you using your pain to create awareness. It takes a love for humanity to share in this way. And that's absolutely true. So well done to you, to your family, Maliek, for letting you do this, because it obviously requires their consent, for you to speak out
Yes.
openly about your dad and his passing. We're so sorry for your loss. And we pray that in the days that lie ahead, healing will come. Like you've pointed out, it's difficult. You are occupied with the campaign. You are doing this out of the depth of your heart to create awareness, because you don't want to see others die or even contract the illness. So it's honorable work you are doing. You rejected an offer to have an exclusive story. That in itself tells us that you are very sincere and willing to make this happen. Um, Last thoughts from your side, Maliek.
Um, yeah, I just want to. I had a few positives
Yeah,
about my story that came out, but one that is standing out is a lady from Joburg that
mm,
contacted me, and her father actually also passed away of the COVID-19 virus,
yeah,
and the same time her mother was also admitted to the hospital, also
sure.
for the virus, but her mother survived, and
Mm,
and they were they were not they were ashamed to talk about it, but she said that my story gave her the courage, to
right,
go to talk to a newspaper in Joburg.
right,
I'm not gonna mention the names,
sure.
and she asked me, we mustn't lose contact.
Yes,
We must stay in contact, and I said no, that's not the problem, because we went through the same thing, and the two of us, or whoever else wants to join, are welcome to join my campaign.
yeah,
I always say it's not my campaign, you know.
right,
If there's
right,
more people coming on board, then it's our campaign. This
correct.
isn't about me, This
Yeah,
is about saving lives.
yes,
And what people doesn't realize, the COVID-19 is not going away soon, and the
yes,
worst is still coming,
yeah. You're
you
right.
know. And I don't think that we are prepared for this.
Yeah,
With people, being ignorant, you know.
sure.
So we can expect that the spike will go high,
Mm,
unless people starting to be cautious, take
yes,
precautions,
That's true. That's true.
then it will keep our level down, you know. And the other thing is this: people must also realize if you get infected, yes, you can survive.
Yeah.
But what they normally ask me also, can you get it again? Yes, you
Yeah.
can. You
Yeah.
can get it again.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I think I was listening to some people, which I don't think is a smart statement, and they're saying, let's just get this virus and get it over and done with. The reality is that I've seen healthy people pass on. I've seen people with comorbidities pass on. And I don't think it's fair to gamble with your life like that, to say, ah, let's just get it and let it pass. Because who says it's going to pass? It might be the thing that takes you out. So being cautious, taking the precautions as prescribed, stay home if you can, as it's been pointed out, is probably the best way to do it. But Malik, on that note, I want to thank you for opening up your heart and sharing with us this afternoon. This conversation sits on Facebook and will move to YouTube later, so many people will listen to it and still learn from it. I want to just speak to the people that are listening this afternoon, and I want to encourage you. Let's make a concerted effort to support Malik in his efforts. If you are able to contribute masks, if several people in PE where I'm from want to contribute masks, I'll cover the cost of couriering those masks to Cape Town. I'll organize a central spot in PE where you can drop it off. Let's fill a box. Let's get if all of us give 2 masks or 10 masks, whatever the number is, let's contribute and get that box off. So that the people who really need it can get it, and I'll do the same from my side as well. Malik, thank you very much for the afternoon. Thanks for the conversation, man. And we wish
Thank
you
you to you for inviting me. I really
yeah,
appreciate it. And if anyone has questions, you've put my number on there, so they can
yeah,
WhatsApp me, give me a call.
correct.
And if I can answer them, I will answer them. If not,
Yeah,
then I will get back to them.
great. Fantastic. Great. So your number is scrolling past the screen. Anybody wants to make contact, please take down the number. Even I want to even encourage you, even if it's just a message of encouragement, because there's a lot of naysayers out there that says, yeah, it's conspiracy theory, and the reality is our people are dying as a result of it. And so it can't just be willy-nilly. It's not like you're running a car into a wall and an accident and you're getting better. No. At one stage, in fact, Malik, I thought maybe when this thing blows over, people will come back to life.
Yes.
I conjure up these thoughts in my mind, but the reality is nobody is coming back. This is
Uh,
the final stop for a lot of people, and unless we are more cautious, unless we take precaution, we're going to see some many lives still pass on as a result. And so let's not get to that place. Let's
yeah.
let's take the
And
necessary
and and the sad part is religious people. They
yeah,
say,
yeah,
yeah, they put their faith in God. Yes, we all do put our faith in God,
absolutely.
but
Yeah,
God also tells you you must take care of yourself. You know,
very true. Yes.
so so with this COVID-19, you must take care of yourself first. You
Right.
know, and don't go look for your death.
Yes.
You understand? So still put your faith in God. Pray.
Yeah.
Pray every
Yeah.
day that this will blow over.
Mm,
And be patient. You know,
very true.
I've got a saying. I've got a saying. Be patient or be a patient.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Very true. Absolutely true. On that note, thank you everybody for tuning in this afternoon. Please continue sharing this conversation so that more people can be encouraged and educated. Um, and please let's get those masks and donate as far as possible. Malik, thanks again for the afternoon, my brother.
Thank
I
you,
wish you well
Antonio.
in all your endeavors, and
Thank you.
absolutely pray for healing for the family as you guys seek closure on your dad's
Amen.
path. All right.
Amen.
Thanks.
Thank
Have a
you.
good afternoon. All right. Cheers.
Okay. Bye.